All right. Hello, everyone. So, today we're not just going to talk about a book. We are accepting an invitation into this dazzling, decadent, and, let's be honest, super mysterious world of one of the great American novels, The Great Gatsby. So, what do you say? Let's dive in.
So everything we're about to see, it's all told through the eyes of this one guy, Nick Carraway. He's a young man, comes from the Midwest, heads out east to make his fortune. And this quote, this is the first thing he tells us. It's advice from his dad, and it's basically his life's motto. Try not to judge people. And you know what? That quality is exactly what makes him the perfect person to hear all the secrets, all the griefs of the pretty wild people he's about to run into.
Okay, so Nick's journey starts out on Long Island. He rents this little bungalow and right away finds himself in this really strange community that's basically defined by two giant egg-shaped peninsulas.
And right here, this is the main social conflict of the entire book. You've got West Egg on one side, that's where Nick lives. It's new money. Think people who got rich quick, have spectacular wealth, but absolutely no social cred. Then you look across the bay and you see East Egg. That's old money. The aristocrats, the families who've had wealth for generations. And trust me, the tension between these two worlds, that's what drives this whole story.
All right, so the story really gets going when Nick drives across the bay over to fancy East Egg. Why? He's been invited to dinner. The hosts are his distant cousin, Daisy, and her husband, Tom Buchanan, who he actually knew from back in college. So, the first person we meet is Tom. And, wow, this guy is just a force of nature. He's got this huge physical presence, and of course, tons of inherited money. He was a big football star in college, peaked at 21, and now at 30, it feels like his best days are long behind him. Nick even says he has a cruel body. He's just one of those guys whose arrogance and raw power just completely take over any room he walks into.
And then there's Daisy. We don't really get a physical description of her at first. Instead, we get this. She's telling Nick about when her daughter was born, and this is what she said she hoped for her. It is just a shocking, cynical, and honestly really sad thing to say. It tells you everything you need to know about the unhappiness that's bubbling right under her charming, perfect surface. Oh, she knows she's living in a gilded cage, for sure.
So that whole beautiful illusion of their perfect, wealthy life, yeah, it gets shattered almost instantly. Right in the middle of dinner, the phone rings. And here's the thing, it's not a secret. Everybody at that table knows exactly who it is. It's Tom's mistress in New York. This isn't just a little crack in their marriage, it's a giant canyon. And it just exposes how empty their whole glamorous world really is.
So you have the glittering wealth of the eggs on one side, and the crazy energy of New York City on the other. But in between them lies this other place. A really grim, desolate landscape that shows you the true cost of all that glamour.
And this is it, the Valley of Ashes. It's basically an industrial wasteland, a huge dumping ground. Everything, and I mean everything, is covered in this fine gray dust. That includes the people who live there. It's this incredibly powerful symbol of all the moral rot that's being hidden by those gorgeous mansions just down the road. And watching over this whole desolate valley are these, the eyes of Dr. T.J. Eckelberg. They're just part of an old, faded billboard for an optometrist, but they feel like so much more, right? They're like the eyes of God, just staring down at all the corruption and waste. Not judging, just watching. And it's here, right under the gaze of those eyes, that Tom actually makes Nick meet his mistress, Myrtle. And she could not be more different from Daisy. She's got this raw, desperate energy about her. You can just feel that she's trapped in this gray, lifeless world, and she sees Tom as her one and only ticket out.
Okay, let's leave that grim valley behind for a minute and head back to the glitz of West Egg. Because Nick's other next-door neighbor, well, he's the guy the book is named after, and he is a total mystery. Nobody knows anything about him except for one thing. He throws the most unbelievable parties you've ever imagined.
I mean, look at this. These aren't just parties, they're spectacles. Every single weekend, Gatsby's mansion basically becomes a public theme park. Hundreds of people just show up, most of them have never even met the guy. The scale is just insane. We're talking a full orchestra, caterers, endless food, and enough champagne to fill a swimming pool.
But in the middle of all this insanity, there's the one big question on everyone's mind. Who is Jay Gatsby? Where did he come from? Where did he get all this money? The man himself is like a ghost at his own parties, and his guests just love to fill that silence with some pretty wild rumors.
So Nick finally goes to one of these parties, and this is the first thing he hears someone whisper, that Gatsby killed a man. It's dark, it's thrilling, and you get the sense that the guests kind of like the idea that their host might be this dangerous criminal. It just adds to the whole spectacle.
And then, literally moments later, someone else chimes in with a totally different theory. Nope, not a murderer, a German spy. The fact that people believe both these things, or at least entertain them, tells you everything. To his guests, Gatsby isn't a real person. He's a myth, a legend they're all writing together.
And then, Nick finally meets the man himself, and he is nothing like the rumors. He's not some sinister figure, just a young guy with this really formal way of talking. But the thing that gets you, the thing that defines him, is his smile. It's this incredibly rare kind of smile that just gets you. It makes you feel like he believes in you more than you believe in yourself.
So Nick is totally fascinated by Gatsby, but the mystery just keeps getting deeper. Then, later that summer, the whole thing, the parties, the money, all of it, is explained in one single mind-blowing revelation.
It comes from Jordan Baker, Daisy's friend. She tells Nick the whole story. Turns out, 5 years ago, before she married Tom, Daisy was madly in love with a young army officer who had no money. He went off to war, and she ended up marrying the super-rich Tom Buchanan instead. And that young officer? His name was Jay Gatsby.
And just like that, with that one sentence, everything makes perfect sense. The giant house, the insane parties, all those people, it wasn't just random excess. It was all a giant, elaborate stage. He built this entire world for one reason and one reason only, hoping that one day Daisy Buchanan would be just across the bay and might wander over to one of his parties. And suddenly, Nick remembers that first night he moved in, when he saw Gatsby standing alone in the dark, reaching his arms out toward the water. And now he gets it. He wasn't just reaching for nothing. He was reaching for that single green light, way off in the distance, the green light at the end of Daisy's dock. It was the symbol of his dream, the one thing he wanted more than anything. So close, but always, always out of reach.
So you see, everything Gatsby did, all the money he made, this entire world he built, it was all for one single purpose, to turn back time, to erase the last 5 years and get Daisy back. And so the whole story, everything we've just talked about, really boils down to this one deeply human and pretty haunting question. Can you actually repeat the past?